Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Qualified Capital Deal Access Series. Just wanted to say a couple words before we get going with our first presenter. I'd first like to thank Michael and Jeremy of Flya for partnering with Qualified Capital. If anyone doesn't know me, my name is Brian Keene. I'm CEO and founder of Qualified Capital. We have been, for the last several years and prior to COVID, hosting deal access events, usually in person. And we decided to, after a long building of a relationship with Michael and Flya, we decided to partner with them to present and showcase some interesting opportunities. So without further ado, we have two presenters. We have Pedro Lichtinger, who will be up first in a couple minutes. I've been involved with Starton for almost 4 years now, and you'll hear from Pedro. He'll go through where we're at today, and then afterwards we will be hearing from Proteic Biosciences and founder Elliot Holtham. Just like to invite everyone for an after virtual cocktail reception today, if you are in the Miami area, to come to SLS Brickell on 1300 South Miami Avenue at the Sam Lounge today at 4:30. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Mike, and thank you everyone for joining today.
Brian, thank you very much for the introduction today. And, I would like to welcome Pedro from Starton Therapeutics. Pedro?
Yes, thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I am really sorry I'm not there in person, but for family reasons, I had to be elsewhere. First, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am a long-term pharma executive. I have spent over 30 years in the pharma and biotech industry, most of it at Pfizer, where I was President of Europe and President of Global Primary Care, have managed 2 biotechnology companies successfully as a CEO, and I co-founded Starton 4 years ago. At the outset, I wanted to share with you how I look as an investor to the company. And I am an investor. In fact, the founders are leading the current raising. We have put the first $1 million out investing in the company. And what I see is very clear. First, I see blockbuster potential. There are few times in my career where I have seen product concepts, technologies, strategic platforms that can consistently deliver improvements over major products established in the market. And we are doing this with a significantly higher probability of success when compared to new medicines or new modes of action. Secondly, the timing is ideal. We are at that stage where we're going to go over the next 18 to 24 months over major inflections. Those inflections lead to step-ups in value, 3, 5 more times in value, as we prove our strong beliefs in what we are going to be delivering in actual patients. And thirdly, we have a portfolio. What that means is we have a balanced risk with multiple programs progressing. So we're not a binary outcome company. We have multiple legs on which to stand, and each one has significant value on its own right. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay. In addition to me, we have a very strong management team. I just want to touch on a couple of them. Jamie Oliver is our Chief Medical Officer. He has personally run over 100 clinical trials. His last job was as the Chief Medical Officer of Accelovance, a CRO. And before that, he has been in biotechnology as well as in other CROs. Andy Resnick is also critical to our company. He, until a couple of years ago was the president of one of the leading manufacturers of FDA-approved transdermal patches. And he now is our chief manufacturing officer. And next, please. We have a strategic platform, as I already mentioned. What we believe in is in continuous delivery. We believe that continuous delivery, by changing the way we give drugs, and instead of giving a one-time oral or injectable, we give it continuously at the lower targeted level, and as a result, deliver up to 90% less medicine. We avoid the upfront loading that is required to extend the activity and the backdoor lack of product when it falls below the minimum efficacious level. So we believe strongly that we will improve both efficacy and tolerability of highly successful drugs. We have developed a proprietary process and have screened 80,000 potential applications of continuous delivery and have a list of targets. Out of this, we have 5 presently in the portfolio, 1 in phase 2, 1 in phase 1, and 3 in preclinical. All are very exciting programs. We focus first on new indications. The reason why we focus on new indications is that shortens the length of a trial in cancer. When you compare to a highly successful drug, you have trials that go 5, 7, up to 10 years. We do not and cannot afford to do this upfront. So our strategy focuses on extending the use, and then eventually we will replace the use of the original medicine. We always conduct proof of concept studies that they validate our view and our hypothesis and serve as a basis for strong intellectual property protection. As an example, our continuous delivery of the IMiD class of compounds, to which lenalidomide, which is our Revlimid program, falls into, has been allowed, and we're imminently expecting its issuance. We are also always focused on superiority to existing treatments, and we try to position ourselves to get accelerated regulatory paths, including breakthrough designation in the United States and prime designation in Europe. Next, please. We have significant, as I already said, improvements in step-ups in our evaluation. First, as we enter 2022, we intend to go public as early as in the first quarter of next year. The 400 to 700 million range is a range that has been established by comparable oncology companies entering phase 1. I will expand on this later on, but once we go public, we have a series of significant milestones that will sustain and grow value. First, we will complete by the middle of next year our phase 1 with Revlimid. We will immediately initiate the phase 2. Now, the phase 2A is critical. It is the study that is going to validate our level of improvement. And we think it's substantial, as you will see in a second. And that's why we have this doubling, trebling of value. And then we move to phase 2, and in phase 2B, which is the expansion, is where you actually meet with the FDA and determine how many patients you need to get breakthrough designation given your data. And in parallel with that, we could start the other indications that we have in multiple myeloma. We have 3 in total, as well as the CLL indications that we have, which are 2. We also have the olanzapine program that is going to be in phase through 2022 and into the beginning of 23. That program is very exciting as well. It is the first that is going to be measured for total control, and I'll explain what that means later in chemotherapy-induced nausea and vomiting. And it is going to save money to the healthcare system every time a patient uses it. As you can see below on this slide, we have strategic options. And the reason why I have included it is as our performance and impact on patients becomes available, and these are open label studies, so we can report 1 patient, 3 patients, or wait until the end of the study. But as information becomes available, we will undoubtedly be approached by major strategics as well as medium-sized strategics. This is just too valuable, and in truthfulness, strategics can do a lot more than what we can do. They can invest $300 million and more at the same time to explore all the potential applications. They have global reach, while we're just going to be building our US reach and relying on others outside of the United States. So I believe that starting in 2023, we are highly likely to be approached by strategics, either for collaborations or for outright acquisition. And next, please. I believe very strongly that what makes a difference in companies is the quality of people. And in particular, in a science-based company, the scientific team that drives the company. This is why we have attracted to our board 3 very well-known, clearly leading in their sectors scientists. First, we have Ken Anderson, who is the director of the Dana-Farber Institute at Harvard for multiple myeloma. Second, we have Dr. Asher Shanan Khan, who co-chairs hematological malignancies at Mayo Clinic and who has been involved in CLL for 25 years. And both of these individuals were lead investigators in the development of Revlimid. And then also Dr. Mohammed Hussein, who still practices at the Cleveland Clinic, but who was for 11 years the global lead for multiple myeloma at Celgene. So he brings to our company all of the experience, what worked, but as important, what did not work with Revlimid, and in addition has had a leading role in bringing forward the now Bristol pipeline in hematological malignancies, which includes several new offsprings of Revlimid, as well as the cellular therapies that were brought into the company through the Juno acquisition. These individuals are best in class. They choose who they work for, and they are working with us to bring this technology to patients. Next, please. I already mentioned that we are entering a period of a validation of our strong beliefs in both programs. This expands a little bit on it, and on the left side, you can see our history of continuous achievement of milestones. We are very proud that in a short period of 4 years, we have been able, from creating the company to actually bringing an asset that is now in phase 2, and a second one that is now in phase 1, and 3 in preclinical development. We also feel very confident that we will continue to consistently achieve milestones as we go into 22 and 23. This is the period of time that is critical for our company. And next slide, please. We are entering major markets. Revlimid is expected to sell this year $13 billion. It is the 3rd largest drug in the market of pharmaceuticals and biotechnology. and it's still growing at double-digit rates. Its patent expires in the United States at the end of 25, and we will be in the market in 26. In the United States, out of the 12.5 billion market size, Revlimid sells 6.5, over 50%. As I already said, our first target is new indications, and in the case of multiple myeloma, it is intolerant patients to Revlimid. Up to 30% of the patients cannot tolerate Revlimid outright. So they take the drug, they have severe neutropenia or severe diarrhea, and have to be put off the drug and move to another alternative. And the moment an oncologist does that, you've just sacrificed years of the life of the patient. So this is our first opportunity, to give the opportunity to this up to 30% of patients to actually have an improved, extended, and quality of life that other patients have access to and they have not had. And in addition, we expect to have a higher efficacy. After that, we have two other indications. One is in combination with cellular therapies, and the other one is in what's called smoldering. In CLL, the leading product is called ibrutinib, and it also represents about half of the $6.2 billion that the market was achieved last year. It is important to know that as you look into the future, the projections are that CLL would grow at double-digit rates as a market overall over the next 10 years. And we intend to play a significant role in that. We offer the first IMiD class mode of action compound that enters CLL. There was a study that was conducted by Celgene, but this study experienced a negative overall survival as 2 patients died as a result of neutropenia. We have clearly shown no neutropenia in animal models, and believe that we will be the first one and be able to create the maintenance market for CLL patients. Both indications have revenue potential of well over $1 billion. Next, please. Yes, we have a transformative, disruptive product in our hands. We have conducted 2 preclinical tests, clinical trials in animals, of course, that have shown unprecedented results. This graph relates to no neutropenia in chronic use. Can I have the next slide, please? This slide really transmits the unexpected, a very significant improvement that we have versus Revlimid. In the green, you can see the continuous delivery achieving a decrease of 80% in the size of implanted tumors. In the blue, you can see the Revlimid group of animals growing tumors 5-fold during the same period. And the animals that had no medicine given to them experienced a 25-fold growth in tumors. So Revlimid contained from 25 to 5, but we actually declined tumors by 80%. This is unprecedented, and it served as a basis for the patent I already referred to, and it's what has attracted prominent scientists to our company. If we do this, or better said, when we do this in humans, we will have an incredible blockbuster potential in revenues and benefit to patients. Next, please. Yes, Sorry, can you bring that one? I want to talk a little bit about our more advanced program. We have selected olanzapine. Olanzapine is an antipsychotic that is at lower levels, has been shown in multiple studies to be highly effective in the control of both vomiting and nausea. In fact, it is non-inferior to existing other products, NK1 receptor antagonists, as well as a 5-HT3 receptor antagonist, but it is superior to both in the control of nausea. This program has been partnered with Haisco Pharmaceutical. Haisco is a public company in China. They sell around $600 million in China. They sell 3 products in CIMV, and they were interested in our program, and they gave us $7.5 million in upfront and milestones, of which we have already received $2.5 million, and double-digit royalties in exchange for exclusivity for this program in China. This followed 7 months of due diligence, and it's not common to see a Chinese company give money upfront for a phase 1 asset. We are in negotiations with a Korean company for a broader deal that would bring significantly more to the company. We have exchanged term sheets and expect to be in a position to conclude these negotiations sometime in December. Next, please. I made reference before to comparable companies that went public. Here you have their names. I'm not going to go over them. What's common between them and us, all of us had a major phase 1 asset in development. We, in addition, are the only one of the group that have a phase 2 more advanced asset. But nevertheless, we consider ourselves comparable to them. They are all either new products or new modes of action. We believe that as a result of that, we have significantly higher probability of success. In addition, we believe, as is shown by the amount of the IPO size, they are targeting the average that they raised was 200 million, ranging from 120 to 250. We are targeting 75 million in our phase 1. This is because a lot of what is required to invest in, we have already done, has been done for us by the original developer of the products. And then the median valuation of these companies at their IPO was 664 million. And 4 out of the 5 within 1 year have exceeded the 1 billion. So we are very excited. As I said, we are entering a period of unprecedented potential for value creation. Next slide. Yes. I want to expand a little bit on our private raise. We are raising 35 million. This will fund our phase 1 study for the Revlimid program, both of our phase 2s for both Revlimid and for olanzapine, as well as the 4 different delivery technologies that we are pursuing to improve the probability of success for the Revlimid program. And of course, they sustain the overhead of the company. We expect to close this round by the end of December. Next, please. So let me summarize. 1, we really are at an inflection point in our development. We are unique in the amount of milestones and catalysts that we have pre and post-public listing. In fact, one of our drivers for going public is to be able to get value out of these multiple milestones. We have a broad portfolio of products. Olanzapine is targeting superiority in the control of nausea. It is also going to be saving money for every patient that is dosed. It will replace the more expensive NK1 receptor antagonist. And then with a lenalidomide, our Revlimid program, we have a very exciting potential to expand the use into intolerant Revlimid patients and in CLL. And then at the second phase, replace key segments of the use of Revlimid as it becomes more and more apparent the improvements in efficacy and tolerability that we are bringing for patients. We also have potential for STAR-LLD in lymphoma and in prostate cancer, where there have been published studies that have shown efficacy, but where tolerability did not allow the drug to progress. We also have 3 other preclinical programs in development. One of them will be announced in the next 12 months, following a proof of concept so that we can build a strong intellectual property protection.
Pedro, we are just about to run out of time. You have some questions in the Q&A function.
I'm ready for questions.
You're ready for questions? All right. So let's do this. I just want to let everybody know that we put a link into the chat for you to get more information from Starton Therapeutics. So if you want to check out that link, you can get all the information on the materials that he was displaying in his previous slide. So please take a look at that. All right. So we have a question from a gentleman, Gardner. Is the methodology your animals trials available? What is this double-blind study? Question mark.
I'm sorry, I did not understand the question.
He says, is the methodology of your animal trials available?
Of course, it is available, of course, under CDA. But yes, it is a typically run a study of the same level of what Celgene would have done.
All right. Is it a double-blind study?
No, you don't do double-blind studies in animals, to my knowledge. It is very difficult to do that. But we did compare a number of animals with Revlimid, mimicking the dose that is applied in the market today with 4 different doses of a continuous delivery. And the highest dose is the one that showed the breakthrough results that I mentioned, although 2 other doses also showed improvement, but less of an improvement over Revlimid.
All right. This gentleman is asking, how does the unprecedented animal studies in regards to risk compare to the new science results approach that have not been in humans?
Well, first, when you have a new medicine or a new mode of action, which is even more risky, you know, when you test it in animals, you don't know exactly how this is going to translate into humans. Basically, a significant number of new medicines flop in a phase 1 setting. In our case, we have a product that has translated into humans, has been in use for 10 years. And in fact, the phase 1 that we're in the process of doing under FDA guidance is very simple when compared to to what a new medicine does. All we have to do is to show that we have the same or lower blood levels when compared to the oral product. And then the FDA allows us to move into phase 2. A phase 1 for a new medicine is highly risky, depending on the type of program. It has a probability of success of 2 to 8%. So very low probability of success because it's never been in humans. It could actually have severe side effects. It could have major problems that they were not seen before. That's highly unlikely with a drug that has been used in millions of patients.
So Pedro, you have a couple of minutes left here, and there's one more question I want to get through before we bring on Proteic Bioscience. So for those of you that are here for Proteic, we're just running a couple of minutes late today. It's my fault. Your IP strategy is impressive. This gentleman's stating, how did Roy Waldron come to the company?
Well, I was looking for somebody that understood intellectual property. And, you know, I come from Pfizer, so I saw him retiring, and I immediately approached to see whether he was available. He went on a 1-year sailing expedition around the world. And when he came back, he finally responded and said, yes, I'm very interested. We met a couple of times and he joined our company. And basically, he oversees the development of our strategy and we execute. And remember, Pfizer looks at 300 companies for potential acquisitions every year. It acquires 4 to 6 companies a year. And every time it does due diligence on the intellectual property, and in addition to that, he files for all the IP of all of the molecules that Pfizer is developing. You file also, or you defend from potential generic inroads that try to erode your IP. So he's one of the most experienced lawyers in intellectual property, given his 25 years of experience at Pfizer.
Pedro, thank you so much for doing this presentation today, and good luck on the IPO coming up at the beginning of 2022.